Okay, I'm going to call to order this work session meeting for the Monroe County Board of Commissioners. There are two commissioners present. It's May 4th. And we'll begin with item 1, discussion regarding ZOA 21-11, amendment to chapter 801 definitions. Ms. Nestor-Jelen?
Yes, good morning, Commissioners. So last week I had brought forward a ordinance amendment to chapter 801, and there were some questions regarding the definition for plot plan. And so I was able to work with our legal counsel and determine that the best course of action would be actually to make some small amendments to our chapter 815 that was passed last week, just to clarify that a plot plan is either a regular plot plan is a scale drawing or it's a certified plot plan. So cleaning up that language a little bit. So I have put that together for the Ordinance Review Committee to review, and it will make its way to the Plan Commission and through the commissioners. But according to legal, we did not need to make any changes to plot plan language as it stands in this text amendment, but I can take any questions or suggestions.
Okay, great, thank you. And then you also added site plan. So just for clarity, is there a plot plan or a site plan that doesn't have to be certified?
Yes, so I went ahead and pulled up the chapter 815 that was just approved last week. So I wanted to go through what the differences are that in the text that was recorded or approved last week. So the commercial structures require a certified site plan. New residential structures, new principal use homes require a certified plot plan. And then for accessory structures, detached structures, remodels, additions, those are going to just be the plot plan, which is a scale drawing that's not certified unless more information is needed.
Okay. So that makes a lot more sense to me. And thank you for looking into that. So is there, I don't know how to explain this. So if a scale drawing doesn't have to be certified, then and a plot plan always does have to be certified?
So it's a good question. So one of the technical fixes, and I don't want to confuse the public too much in terms of, this is chapter 815 that I have up on the screen. This says scale drawing. I'm going to take a text amendment through that says just plot plan, requires a plot plan. So we're going to scratch scale drawing. And that was the confusion. And then here we'll have plot plan just defined regularly as either certified or not. Go to chapter 815 to determine whether it has to be certified.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense. Is it you fall in that? And then is there ever a need for a site plan that's not certified anywhere in our ordinances?
No, I don't think so. So we could change that to be must be certified.
Yep. Okay, that makes sense. All right, I'm picking up what you're putting down. The other thing I would say is, just if we're doing this anyway, just for clarity's sake, it seems like it would be clearer to, and this is for both of the definitions, on the second line, where improvements and structures are being proposed or exist, instead of or in existence. Does that make sense?
Yep.
Okay. Whew. This is great. So this has to go back to the Plan Commission.
What we could do is I could take this to the formal session with these edits. And then once you approve it, it goes to the Plan Commission. If they approve it, it's adopted that day.
Excellent. Excellent. All right. Very good. Okay. Great. So should we put this on our regular agenda for next week?
Sure.
Yeah, you okay with that?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, good. So we're on the right track. This is really good news. Thank you so much, Ms. Nestor-Jelen. it's hard to work through text and edit, but especially keeping in mind that people who are reading this may not be familiar with the terms and what we do. And so that's why it's important to get it right. So I really appreciate your attention to detail. Thank you so much.
And it is very detailed.
It is
Very
detailed. All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks. And next we have a discussion of ordinance 2022-11. Ms. Bierman?
Hi.
Good morning.
Good morning. How are you, commissioners?
Good, good.
All right. Hoping you can see my shared screen. So I have
Yes.
the agenda item pulled up here. So this was ordinance number 2022-11.
Can you
and-
zoom it out so that it fills the screen?
Yes.
Perfect. Thank you so much.
All right. And so this is for, the purpose is to do a zoning map amendment to rezone a portion of a 5.26 acre lot in Perry Township at 1785 East Railtown Road. And they want to rezone it from estate residential, which is ER, to suburban residential, which is SR. And there is one condition associated with that. Looking at the draft ordinance here, I'll just point out that the one condition is going to be to apply for a final plat amendment as proposed under exhibit number 2 of the staff packet that you'll see. Then this did go to the Plan Commission on April 19th, 2022, and got a vote 6-0 favorable recommendation to you all. So the meat and potatoes of this, it's really a tale of two properties. Let's just get to the zoning map because that will probably help you the most here. So the Sturworps property is located at 1785 East Railtown Road, and it's this lot here. And then we have a parcel that's addressed at 1901 South Luke's Court, owned by Mr. Williams. So Mr. Williams was able to obtain an easement several years ago from a previous property owner, and it's 50 by 248, I believe. And this was to allow him to put a septic system on the property. The new property owners would really just like to see this sold out to him outright and do a lot line shift between the two properties. This would require a rezone to be able to shift that lot line. But there's a few other factors that are involved here with rezoning this strip of land. And I'll just kind of zip through here, looking at the site conditions right now. The Sturworps have a home here. This is Williams' property, and his septic lies here. There is a fence, a privacy fence that has been put up, so the Sturworps can't even access their own property essentially. And then to make matters more interesting is there was a permit to build a pole barn on this lot here. And when the site plan was permitted or was approved for that, he didn't follow it. So he has essentially built over the lot line. Probably the next best thing to look at to quickly just get through this. That's just a review of the septic area that we confirmed with the health department. Here's a photo of that 50-foot strip of land that kind of shows the mounded septic permit. And then this is the pole barn that was that was at one time, this main building was permitted under this very specific site plan that was submitted, but it was not followed and has since been added a lean-to here that did not adhere to any site plan. No permit was submitted. So we've got a 10-foot roughly setback here that if the rezone would go through, the lot line would go through, we would have compliance with this structure. I think both parties are interested in this happening. Again, this is the property involved. And let me just real quick get to the certified plot plan. It's a lot of scrolling, apologies. So This is Exhibit 2 that's associated with that condition where they would want to show the lot line has actually been shifted between the two property lines and it would vacate the easement. And then here is a blow up of this whole two properties that we're discussing. So Sturwarps here need to rezone this strip of land, which would then allow Mr. Williams to extend his property line this way, which would then allow his pole barn that he built over the lot line and into an easement, which is not permitted under planning and zoning requirements. It would meet those required setbacks for the SR zone. They currently wouldn't be met if it was ER zone, and we have an interpretation that we couldn't even allow a split zoned lot like this anyway. So that's basically the gist of this petition that we're hoping to bring before you next week during the formal commissioners meeting. So do you have any questions on this one?
Thank you so much, Ms. Bierman. Comments, questions, Commissioner Githens?
I have to admit, I didn't get a chance to read through all this earlier.
Yeah,
and
that's
so
okay.
it's pretty dense for me, but you're saying that if the rezone is approved, then the required setbacks would be met. Is that correct?
Yeah, they would be met for this pole barn that was originally permitted with a different site plan. And then also the lean-to, we would be able to take forth their building permit application and finish that one out as well. And that would bring them into compliance and out of the enforcement realm. And I believe the Sturwarps would be satisfied with, getting rid of this land that they can't even access and it has someone else's septic on it.
Yeah. And as upset as we are with somebody who doesn't follow.
Yeah, I'll pull up the site.
Yeah,
Here's
really,
the site plan that we had
Yeah.
submitted, which,
Yeah.
they
Right.
had shown 10-foot and 15-foot
Right.
setbacks, but they just kind of assumed their lot line was all the
Yeah.
way to the fence and didn't follow it. So
This is why it's important to have this information right. As much as we want to make the person that didn't follow their own plan, that built over lines, we don't want to reward bad behavior, but really this is something that homeowner in the home marked 1 here on this image, they need to do this. And so that's who we're really helping
Protecting.
out. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and what was the vote on this? Do you remember?
it was 6-0.
Okay. Yeah. Okay, great. So do you want this brought back next week or
That's fine.
is that okay? Do you want to
Yep.
wait 2 weeks?
No.
Okay, great. So we're ready to see this next week on the 11th.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Perfect. Thank you so much. All right, next item, Mr. Hahn from the Sheriff's Department. You've been very patient.
Good morning, good afternoon. Did you guys all get a copy of this?
Yes.
Okay, all right. You might have to walk me through this. I'm not familiar with this process. Okay, all right, that's fine. That's fair. All right, so I'm Detective Alex Hahn. I'm with the Sheriff's Office. I'd like to present to you a request for funding for a cold case that I have. In May of 2004, skeletal remains of an unknown male were found in a remote ravine near Lake Lemon in Monroe County. The remains clearly showed evidence of a homicide with 2 bullet holes in the skull, consistent with an execution type killing. Extensive investigation was conducted in an attempt to identify the subject, to include checking missing persons reports throughout the United States, but over the past 18 years, we've yet to connect anyone with him. With all these conventional methods exhausted, I began familiarizing myself with genetic genealogy. This is a fairly new investigatory process that compares the submitted DNA to open source DNA profiles throughout the country. Using this method, an unknown DNA profile can be linked to a known DNA profile of a family member, wherein an identification can be made. After researching various genetic genealogy companies, I learned that Othram is a well-respected and successful laboratory who has made identifications on remains in excess of 100 years old. I contacted Othram and obtained a quote. I have that quote if you guys would like to see it. At this time, I'm requesting funding to pay Othram so that they can make an identification in this case.
Okay, thank you so much. One of the things I noted is that there are 2 additional costs that may be incurred.
Correct, yes.
Yeah, so what you want to use for the amount will be something like not to exceed $7,100
Right,
or
okay,
something
alright,
like that.
okay,
Instead of a
alright.
set amount, you want to set a
Okay.
not to exceed amount that includes those 2 other firms.
Right,
Okay.
understood.
Questions?
Yes, would you explain open source DNA?
Explain it.
Yes,
So
please.
yes, my understanding is, what is it, 23andMe, you have all these companies or ancestry.com where you have kits and then you fill that out, you'll do that, you send it in. Well, these companies keep, the database or whatever of the DNA, so the sequencing and whatnot. And then these, companies like Author and whatnot, they can access that and compare. I mean, it gets really in the weeds. I'm not,
Yeah.
I'm just a cop,
But
so.
I do
But
know, yeah.
they can read the STR sequencing and stuff like that, certain numbers line
So
up.
what they're looking for is DNA that's similar enough that it brings up a family member who has submitted their
Correct,
DNA
yes.
into the open source.
Yes, and then we can trace it back to,
So 23andMe is considered an open source?
Mhm.
Is that, okay.
Yep.
I just,
Ancestry, all of them are, yeah. I think for this person's friends and loved ones, this is the right thing to do.
Yeah.
And I think they would appreciate our efforts to do this. I'm trying to go back and see where the funding comes from. Oh, public safety lit, perfect, good use. Okay, excellent. All right, very good. Oh, Mr. Cockrell.
I guess I'm curious whether, is there an appropriation already in place for this?
Right, I don't know because I haven't seen this yet, but I can get it straightened out and work with the taxi con and make sure that we have all the right paperwork in place for you guys.
We may have to take this to council as
Right.
well.
Yeah.
So she's going to look at the budget and see where it's at.
Okay.
But we still have to do this too. So it could be a 2-step process. It could be a 1-step process, just to be
Right.
confusing for you. Appreciate your patience though.
Right.
So this is really good. I appreciate that you've made this effort. I really do. And I think his friends and family would appreciate it too. So do you want this on our agenda next week?
I do. I would hope also that this might give information that might lead to whoever the perpetrator was in this situation.
Yep.
Right, yeah, this is just the
Justice.
first step. It's
Yeah,
more
finding
work,
out who
so.
it is.
Right.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
Right,
that's a
thank
good
you.
point. Excellent. Great. So please bring it back next week. Ms. Purdy will help you with the process of paperwork and the budget amount and all that good stuff. Thank you. All right, next item, Mr. Schilling.
Thank you very much, Dave Schilling from the Legal Department. And we have a proposed agreed entry of judgment in a planning case that we put on the agenda on Friday. This was a lawsuit that involved the erection of a pool and a fence within the floodway down at the corner of Rogers and that road. And we filed the complaint, and the defendant responded by saying, yes, I made a mistake. I'll remove the items. So we prepared this agreed entry, sent it to him. He returned it last Friday signed. So we put it on the agenda. But Rachel went out there Monday, Rachel Henry, the inspector, and found out that he'd already removed everything that we wanted removed. So there's really no need for an agreed entry. So with your approval, I'll just file a motion to dismiss, if that's okay.
Sounds good to me.
Sounds easier for everyone.
Do we need to do a formal vote on that? Would it be better?
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah, it'd be-
I move that in the Lonnie Baker case that we instruct Mr. Schilling to file a motion to dismiss.
Second that.
We have a motion and a second. I guess we could take public comment on this. Probably won't be anyone. Okay, excellent. All those in favor of instructing legal to file a motion to dismiss in cause 53 CO6 2201 PL 0000116 signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries 2-0.
Thank you very much.
All right, any other departments have updates for us? Mr. Cockrell?
I do not.
Excellent. All right, great. With that, we are adjourned. Thank you. Thanks, everyone.